it. Obviously, you guys sent me the story. The Discord talked about it. It's really sad. It's always sad, when people get murdered. But let's talk about our thoughts on this Pride Month about this being a hate crime or not.
Was actor Jonathan Joss just killed in a homophobic hate crime? That is what many people are asking and claiming after he was just shot dead outside of his home in San Antonio on Sunday after an altercation with a neighbor who reportedly was apprehended soon after. And Joss, if you don't know, he's best known for his roles in King of the Hill and Parks and Rec, and was visiting the site of his recently burned down home with his husband, Tristan Kern de Gonzalez.
Oh, I didn't know who he was because I didn't watch King of the Hill growing up, but I do know Parks and Rec a little bit. Oh, that's so sad. When you start to really realize, and put it in context, oh, that's so sad,
And according to a Facebook post from Gonzalez, when we returned to the site to check our mail, we discovered the skull of one of our dogs and its harness placed in clear view. This caused both of us severe emotional distress. We began yelling and crying in response to the pain of what we saw. While we were doing this, a man approached us. He started yelling violent homophobic slurs at us. He then raised a gun from his lap and fired. With Gonzalez then going on to write that he was murdered by someone who could not stand the sight of two men loving each other. And so you had that statement painting a pretty clear picture as to why this couple was targeted, but you had San Antonio police heavily disputing that and saying, our investigation has found no evidence whatsoever to indicate that Mr. Joss's murder was related to his sexual orientation. Should any new evidence come to light, we will charge the suspect accordingly. And so with that, as it turns out, according to reports, this is not the first time the couple has had issues with the neighbors. With Tristan even making it seem like their recently burned down home was possibly because of arson. With them writing, that home was burned down after over 2 years of threats from people in the area who repeatedly told us they would set it on fire. We reported these threats to law enforcement multiple times and nothing was done. And then all of this is the
Wait. How could they say it wasn't a hate crime if the husband is saying they literally yelled slurs at us and then killed my husband? What constitutes a hate crime? I'm so confused. Okay. I'm so confused. Now, for the context of that fire, I found a video of Jonathan, and then I found a fundraiser of Jonathan. So here you'll see they did a fundraiser for the fire that happened, and actually their 15K goal ended up being $20,000. So the community came together for Jonathan and his husband, which is cool. Now, this is the video that initially went out about that fire. I just want to show you for the context.
My name's Jonathan. My name is Jonathan Joss. I do film and television. I'm the voice of John Redcorn in King of the Hill. Yes, I'm the voice of John Redcorn in King of the Hill. While I was out of town, it was vandalized. They took wires out, they knocked my pole down. So the city, no electricity, no gas. So in order to stay warm, we did the best we can. I was just told that one of my dogs died. This is a house I grew up in. I'm more concerned about my dog that died. But you know what? The good Lord will protect us. I don't know which one is dead yet, man. They won't let me go in the house. This house was built by my dad in 1957 for my mom. Because it's been really, really cold, man. And when you don't have electricity, when you don't have gas, we went to a hotel because it was so cold. For the last couple of nights, I wanted to come home and take care of my dogs. I don't have a job. I don't have children. I'm missing one more dog. It's my fault, or if somebody came in and did something, who knows? But mistakes happen, man. And it's my fault for I guess, leaving something on.
He doesn't even know. That's what's crazy is that in this story, at the moment, he doesn't even know. Did he do something? Did somebody do something? The mystery of it all is just really sad. Okay, back to Phil.
Neighbors have their own version of events, and they're painting a much different picture of Joss's time on the street. With, for example, one telling My San Antonio that, quote, he would just walk up and down the street, he would just scream, saying he was just very loud, but we knew how he was, so we wouldn't disturb him. Even if he looked at us, talked mess to us, we just ignored him because we knew that's how he was. You also had neighbors telling local outlet KENS5 that Joss and the man who shot him had a long-standing feud and often faced off with weapons, saying sometimes Joss was even armed with.
What in the man? I'm so sorry, rest his soul, but what in the man? What in the male activity? I'm sorry. What? Also, does anything matter about his mental state if he was murdered? I don't understand. He was murdered. At the end of the day, he's the one who got killed. So even if he was mentally ill, even if he was a rude neighbor, even if he was a horrible plight on the internet, you know what I mean? I get that, but why murder? What justified the murder is what I'm trying to figure out in these people's heads.
with a crossbow. Also, others reportedly called the police for mental welfare checks on Joss over 40 times since January of 2024. And to be
Wow.
clear, essentially all of this was in 2024 since he really wasn't around after the home burned down in January. But you also had some feeling like the shooting was just bound to happen because of Joss's alleged mental health issues, with one then telling the local paper that "I'm so sad it had to come to this," saying "We all knew it was going to end up like this because of his antics. It's sad because this could have been prevented if he had gotten the help he..."
I'm sorry. What? 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 Okay, listen. Even if a man is a disturbance in the neighborhood and you hate his guts, you can't murder him. Like, and I don't trust men, right? So like I'm not saying he was a good person. I don't know this man, right? But you can't murder somebody. Like, that's the only thing that matters, is you murdered him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why are they trying to say that because he was a nuisance, he was bound to get shot? Sure, he was bound to get shot by a crazy person who thought they could murder him. I don't understand the justification here.
He needed. You also had another claiming that the shooting was because a neighbor was, quote, fed up with Joss. But then with all of that, as far as...
Move! Call the cops! Listen, I guarantee you, one of us will have to move because our neighbors suck. With peace and love, one of us is going to have to move because our neighbors suck. I have so many friends and family that end up in places where they're like, I'm going to move. My neighbor is so annoying and I can't do anything about it. Move. It's annoying. You shouldn't have to. But this is why I say, when y'all talk about having a village, remember that someone in the village sucks. And if somebody in the village sucks that bad, you should move. Not because it's great, but because it is what it is. You can't kill people. You move. Okay? You can't kill people. That's not good. Okay?
how people are reacting online. You have people really not only talking about what a great person Joss was to be around, but also taking Tristan's claim that this was caused by homophobia at face value. Some have even claimed that this ties into a broader trend across the US that we're seeing the country shift to the right over the years. Although there, it should also be pointed out that the belief that you should kill someone for being gay, that's extremely fringe even among the right. We've then also seen the situation fueling anger and frustration at some media outlets for how they tackled the issue. Right? For example, you had the New York Post initially saying that the shooting was because of an argument between Joss and his neighbor, which led to takes like a big fuck you to the New York Post for reducing this murder to an argument with a neighbor, saying Jonathan Joss was the victim of a hate crime and died protecting his husband. Queer people shouldn't be killed for who they love / who they are. We deserve the right to exist. Also, as far as the Post, they've since released new articles that explicitly mention that Tristan claims it was a hate crime and the police deny that. You know, generally the most common response.
Wait, great point. Chad says, I find it interesting that it happens so often, the zero footage of it, whether it be on phone or doorbell cam. Yeah, I know that it was, I think from my understanding, the neighborhood was really disadvantaged. It was really like, from the pictures and the videos that I saw, it looked like the neighborhood was, maybe they couldn't afford door cams is what I'm trying to say. Cause like door cams are kind of like, I don't know who gets door cams, but like nobody I know has one. And if they do have cameras around the house, they usually have money. So I don't know if that's like, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's a part of it, but it seemed to be like a more troubled situation. So I wonder if that was a big, I don't know, I might be speaking out of turn, but that's what the impression was I got, or maybe it's the way the news is saying it. But I'm surprised there's no phones, no cameras, that nobody was recording anything. I'm assuming we're going to see some footage eventually. I'm surprised there's no footage now. That seems weird.
Response to all this has just been sympathy and sadness at just how pointless the killing was, regardless of the reason. With, for example, Nick Offerman, who had roles alongside Joss, writing in a statement, "The cast has been texting together about it all day and we're just heartbroken. Jonathan was such a sweet guy and we loved having him as our chief Ken Hotate. A terrible tragedy." And with that, I think it's important to remember, at the very least, whether it was because Joss was gay or having a particularly hard mental day after seeing his burned down home and dead dog, neither are an excuse for murder. But ultimately, that is where we are with this just...
Wait, I'm so confused. Am I confusing the stories? Hold on.
My name's John.
Hold on. This was 4 months ago. Didn't he just die? Why is he talking about the burned down house and his dead dog now? Right? Like, aren't those two different events that happened months apart? So I don't know why those two things are related. I don't know why Phil said that. Hold on.
dog, it was Chief Ken Hotate, a terrible tragedy. And with that, I think it's important to remember, at the very least, whether it was because Joss was gay or having a particularly hard mental day after seeing his burned down home and dead dog.
Okay, I think he just misspoke, because it would be like having a mental hard day or a few months, right? Okay, now, obviously, if the man threw around homophobic slurs before killing Joss, that would mean it's a hate crime. In my opinion, that feels obvious to me. It could also be, because men are messy and people are messy, an actual case of two men having conflict and it ending up like this to some extent. And I'm not saying this because I don't think it was also homophobic. Like, it could have been a combination of was homophobic and was this thing, right? His husband said they just discovered the body of his dog. Yeah, but is the body of the dog that died in the fire or the body of a different dog that you guys are saying died recently, right? This is why the altercation started. Oh, hold on. Let me actually go back to, hold on. Let me do this because I think it's important.
Not.
Hold on. Okay, so hold on. Hold on. It says this is from Jonathan Joss's Facebook account from Tristan, the husband. My husband, Jonathan, Joss, and I were involved in a shooting while checking the mail at the site of our former home. So they were checking the mail at the burnt down home. Okay, that home was burnt down over 2 years after 2 years of threats from people in the area who reportedly told us they would set it on fire. We reported those threats to law enforcement multiple times and nothing was done. Throughout that time, we were harassed regularly by individuals who made it clear they did not accept our relationship. Much of the harassment was openly homophobic. Okay. Throughout this time, we were harassed regularly by individuals who made it clear. Oh, I'm sorry. I read that already. When we returned to the site to check our mail, we discovered the skull of one of our dogs and its harness placed in clear view. This caused both of us severe emotional distress. We began yelling and crying in response to the pain that we saw. So are they saying, okay, hold on. Let me finish reading. While we were doing this, a man approached us. He started yelling violent homophobic slurs at us. He then raised a gun from his lap and fired. Jonathan and I had no weapons. We were not threatening anyone. We were grieving. We were standing side by side. When the man fired, Jonathan pushed me out of the way and saved my life. He saved my life. Jonathan is my husband. He gave me more love in our time together than most people ever got. We were newlyweds. We picked Valentine's Day. We were in the process of looking for a trailer and planning our future. He was murdered by someone who could not stand the sight of two men loving each other. I was with him when he passed. I told him how much he was loved. To everyone who supported him, his fans and friends, I know he valued you deeply. He saw you as family. My focus now is on protecting Jonathan's legacy and honoring the life we built together. If your concern is how someone coped with trauma or how loudly they speak when recounting injustice and being ignored by authorities, and you never really truly cared about my husband. Jonathan saved my life. I will carry that forward. I will protect what he built. Tristan. Okay. So so I think the skull from the dog was the one that burned down maybe, but either way, like whoever placed the skull near the mailbox, right? Whoever orchestrated the scene to be distressing, super unethical. The person who murdered him, super unethical. I don't know what we're talking about here, right? If we're really so, if we're going to be, obviously I have no reason to believe. Okay, chat banned. No transphobia in my chat. Okay, thank you. No, not in the holy month of our religion. Okay. Okay, Discord said I Googled what that chatter was saying. There's no credible information. Yeah, that chatter was homophobic, right? Straight to jail. Exactly, chat. Straight to jail. No homophobia, no transphobia in the chat. Okay. People are already trying to discount the story. I have no reason to not believe the husband. I have no reason not to. Jonathan is dead. So forgive me for siding on the side of the victims. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are we even talking about here? To me, it feels obvious that it was a combination of a hate crime. And honestly, if the husband's trans, then it's a trans gay crime. Congratulations. You got a double hate crime on your watch. This isn't just even a homophobic hate crime. This is a trans hate crime. This is a double whammy hate crime. If that's the case, if that's what people are saying, because that's what that chatter was trying to imply, right? Like, oh, it can't be a hate crime. They're not even gay. Now you got a double hate crime on your hands, girl. So book them. You know what I'm saying? This man murdered somebody, his neighbor, in cold blood while they were sitting there minding their business on their own property. What are we talking about? You know, like, I don't even know what we're talking about. Now, obviously, they didn't kill the husband and they went to go shoot Jonathan. The question is, what happened after? Where did the neighbor go? Why did the neighbor only target Jonathan? What was so, and that's where I think they're having that. That's where I think that idea is like, it was more about the feud they were having, right? Because like, why wouldn't they shoot the husband? Did they just walk away? Did somebody come and save somebody? Did someone pull them apart? Like, what could have happened? Do you know what I mean? I don't know, but either way, chat says, I think he went to shoot the husband, but Jonathan saved him. Yes, but like, okay, you're in a scenario. They're in front of the street. The guy pulls out a gun. Jonathan gets in the way. What does the shooter just like walk away? Why wouldn't the shooter reload and keep shooting? What made the shooter not keep shooting everybody? He ran after that. Okay, so he got spooked. He didn't mean to kill both people. He just wanted to kill Jonathan. He wanted to kill the husband, but Jonathan got in the way. Like, I don't know. But does it matter? Like, I mean, it matters to the case, but does it matter to us when we talk about like, why are we even arguing good guy, bad guy, hate crime, not hate crime? Like, I believe the victims. I don't know why the victims would make up that he threw slurs their way. Why are we even assuming they would lie about that when the guy literally killed somebody? Like, I don't even know why we're trying to argue whether or not the murderer might have been a better guy because he wasn't a hey guys, he's a bad guy, but he's not that bad of a guy. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds like we're trying to do that. You know, he might be a murderer, but he's not a homophobe. I mean, I guess it's better. It just feels really silly that we're making that distinction right now when we have no reason not to believe the husband when he said he threw out slurs. So yeah, why are we even talking about it? You know what I mean? Why are we even doing that? So anyways, I'm going to say it's a hate crime. I believe the husband. I'm sorry for Jonathan, and I'm sorry for the loss of Tristan's husband, Jonathan. Like, this is all just very sad. You know? Chet says, why did the police automatically imply it wasn't a hate crime? Because it's Texas? I don't know. Apparently they're claiming that because they had a long-standing feud, that was probably not a hate crime, but it's crazy. It's crazy. What a horrible situation. Very sad. Like, just horrible. I couldn't even imagine. They were probably living in a hotel still, right? They were only 4 months after the fire burned down their house. So they were probably still living in a hotel, going back and forth. Like, that's so stressful. That's so sad. You know, Chet says supposedly the MAGA and that police in the area are very MAGA. Well, I believe it, right? Chat says, quote, I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty. That is such a funny line in a show. That's exactly what it feels like. It's like, this is so silly. You know, Chat says hate crimes can't be long-standing. Well, you would think so. I'm sorry, this feels silly. It feels like we're doing some mental gymnastics just to get ourselves to feel like the murderer wasn't as bad. You know? Chet says, what was the fire from? They don't know. So we don't know. Let me see if there's an update that I can find. So, you know, let me see if they ever found out. It only happened 4 months ago. So they're probably honestly still investigating cause of fire. Let me see. Records detail neighborhood dispute before Jonathan killing. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that. Moving, motive for killing. Don't care about that. I want to know. Oh, suspect said I shot him. Well, there you go. Proud murderer. Good job, buddy. That's sarcasm. I'm not seeing any update on like what caused the fire because Jonathan was blaming himself. Jonathan's like, look, either someone did something or I left something on. But like, I don't know. House fires happen so quickly. You know what I mean? Like they just happen so fast. I don't know, but it's all just very sad. And I don't like the idea that some people are using this story to create all these narratives about why in some way it was like less bad, because in the end, again, somebody was shot and killed. So like, I don't want to hear all your theories about like people's gender and why the house burned down and like, well, how bad of a guy was Jonathan? I don't care. We shouldn't believe murdering people is reasonable or valuable. And we do live in a society that is the death penalty. We do live in a society that is violent, that promotes violence, that goes, well, bad people died, so who cares? And I get it. We all do it, right? We all kind of like are less concerned when people we think are bad die. But it's not up to you to decide that they're bad enough to die. That's not your place. You can think it, you can't act on it. You can think it, you can't act on it. Okay. That's not good. It's not good for you because now you have to live with the fact that you killed somebody, and it's not good for them. It's not good for people. This doesn't help us. Okay. So I didn't see a GoFundMe for Tristan, for the husband. If I find one in the future, I'll link it, but I don't see a GoFundMe for anything yet. But there was a GoFundMe which was successful 4 months ago for their burned down house. They asked for 15, they raised 20,000. So Tristan's probably okay right now, but I don't know if Tristan's working. I don't know if they have a community, but I hope that family and friends reach out and that he has a support group, because it's really going to be necessary through this. Did anyone have any other questions? I know people wanted me to talk about it and cover this. Was there anything you wanted us to cover that we didn't already cover? Chet says every time conservatives get caught being racist, homophobic, or transphobic, or committing a hate crime, they narrow the definition to try not to fit it because they know deep down that what being them is wrong. Bro, can I just say something? I definitely have those family members that are like, I'm not homophobic. And I'm like, you're literally anti-gay marriage and you think it's wrong to be gay. You get offended when anyone talks about gay people. You're homophobic. And they're like, I'm not homophobic. It's like, y'all want to be homophobic, but you don't want to own the label of homophobia. Let's see. Chet says, sorry, I know I sound like a broken record, but queer indigenous folk are at an insanely vulnerable intersection. They're targeted by homophobia, racism systematically in our colonized world. White fragility / hetero fragility goes insane. Yeah, Chet says they want to be bigots, but not called bigots. Exactly. They want to be bigoted, but they don't want to be labeled bigoted. Okay, let's see. Discord shared a news story, said Jonathan's childhood home where he still lived burned down in January. He lost all his belongings and 3 dogs were killed in the blaze. Oh, damn. A GoFundMe account has been set up to help Joss and his husband, Tristan, get back on their feet. We may have lost our home, but not our hope. We're moving forward with love and humor and a little elbow grease. We're incredibly grateful for every ounce of support. Okay, so 3 of their dogs. Yeah. And childhood home makes sense. They mentioned that in the video that I showed, right? The video I showed, he said his dad built it by hand, right? So we knew it was a childhood home. Yeah. Chessa's childhood home is interesting. I mean, it makes sense, right? That's where his dad raised him, or where he was raised as a kid. And then he got that house. And look, he's an actor. He's not going to make a lot of money. He's an in and out of work actor, right? He was jobless when it happened. Now, look, there's a lot of trauma and a lot of issues that come with working in Hollywood. So I'm sure he was suffering. I'm sure they had trauma to deal with. None of that justifies the murder, right? Discord said it also means neighbors should know him. Well, they did know him. They just didn't like him. And by the way, he might have been very unlikable. You can't murder unlikable people. Like, I just want to make this abundantly clear. I don't know this person. I don't know what problems he probably had. He's probably a misogynist, right? It doesn't matter. You can't kill him. You can't kill him. There's no such thing as a perfect victim. You can still be a victim and be imperfect. You can't murder neighbors you don't like. You can't murder misogynists. You're not allowed to murder billionaires. You can't murder people, guys. That's not the society you want to live in. We do not want to live in a place where people just murder people. Your ability to murder somebody and throw around slurs makes it a hate crime, especially. You're motivated by hate. And Jess says they want the 10 Commandments in school and we still got to say, hey, no murder. Well, maybe they wouldn't have murdered, guys, if we put the 10 Commandments in the schools. I'm being sarcastic. It's all sad. It's all sad. Like, I think that's the thing is, like, I don't need to make a hero out of anybody for it to all be sad. I think our instinct is to want to do that. We don't have to. It's just sad. Chad says, from what I understand, his killer is walking free. Am I wrong? I don't know. I heard he was arrested. I shot him. Suspect in King of Hill actor Jonathan Ross confessed to police. The man suspected in the fatal shooting of King of Hill voice actor Jonathan Ross confessed to the crime telling police, I shot him. Here's the man here. Alvarez. Was it brown on brown crime? What's happening? The racists are going to use that. Pulled up his car behind Joss's as the actor was stepping to pick up the mail from his former home in San Antonio, Texas. On Sunday, the two got into an argument. An unidentified witness was traveling from Austin to San Antonio with Joss, watched the men argue from her car and heard Saya warned that he had a gun. Moments later, he shot 59-year-old Joss, the witness told. He later confessed to police, I shot him. A rifle in Saya's possession, Saya, was confiscated by police. He was charged with a felony of first-degree murder, and his bond was set at $200,000. His first court is for August. So authorities have not yet shared the motive behind the deadly shooting. The husband is saying it was a homophobic attack and related it to the possible arson attack on their home. Said they got years of threats from the community. Okay. That's when Gonzalez, the man approached, or according to Gonzalez, the man approached them and started yelling homophobic slurs. He then raised, so Tristan Gonzalez is the husband, right? He then raised a gun from his hip and fired. Jonathan and I had no weapons. Weird. How sad. Yeah, I get, okay, so Fox 7 Austin chat says has an article stating he's out because he posted bond on Monday. That's crazy. How did they let him out? How did they let him out? I don't get it. That's so weird. I can't believe we're just letting like first-degree murderers out here. Oh, that's horrible. I don't understand why that feels safe. Like, what if he runs? Is that even safe for the neighborhood? What if he's a threat to other people? You know what I mean? Yeah, why is that available? I mean, he admitted I shot him. And they're like, okay, cool. You're out on bond. Pourquoi? What is this? That's horrible. Yeah, I think there's definitely probably, like, I'm going to assume homophobia and transphobia at play here. There's got to be. $200,000 is a lot for bail. Who paid it? Could have put a lien on his house. He could have used his assets to do it, maybe. Chat says, it's interesting to me how you can't understand this. When the Texas of it all, we're shocked they even arrested him to start with. Are you being snippy with me? You said it's interesting to me how you can't understand this. Oh, I'm sorry. What did you guys expect? He's a gay. Of course they're going to shoot him. I can't believe you guys are all shocked. He's a homosexual. He probably deserved it. What are you guys, are we joking? I'm sorry that I'm just trying to show compassion. Obviously, we all know murder happens, but if we keep pretending like it isn't a shock, we're going to start treating it like it's not a big deal. We know murder happens, guys, but let's not be sociopathic about it and be like, well, what do you expect? It's Texas. That's the same attitude the neighbors had. What do you expect? They were fighting. It's a bad attitude to have. Just because homophobia is expected, you don't have to act like it's not a big deal. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. You said it is interesting to me that there are places that are good where this is shocking. It should always be shocking. Not to you, but to the community. You should appear shocked. That's what I'm saying. You should appear shocked. Even if you think it's a duh, sure, kids getting raped is also a duh, but God forbid you don't act shocked. Act shocked. It's shocking. Be shocked. Don't allow yourself to stop being shocked at the horrors of the world, as long as you also don't let it make you fall apart. That's the problem. We have stopped being shocked at the horrible behavior of people. Okay? I don't mean to come for you, but you're the one who typed in my chat and was brave enough to actually put that in chat. Okay? So, girl, I had to say my piece.